installing Windows 10. And this process of installing of Windows operating system is simpler today than it was in past, and the person who perform the installation has fewer decisions to make, and however those decisions are critical to the success of the deployment. A typical manual installation of Windows 10 involves performing the following procedure. The procedure is very simple. It was not difficult as it was in past. So first you have to start the installation from your DVD, installation DVD, or you can start the installation from USB drive. That USB drive is specially prepared USB drive, that you have to create the bootable USB drive, and then you can use that USB drive to install the operating system. Or you can use the network installation by using the Pixie Boot. Pixie Boot is the feature which is available in network cards, LAN cards. So if your network card or your LAN card supports this Pixie Boot, which is mostly all of the network cards are supported right now nowadays. So every machine can boot from network nowadays. So if it is supported, then you can boot it from the network, and for that you need Windows deployment service server. So if the deployment server is there and it is running and it is accepting the request, then you can start your machine with the network. You can boot your machine with network and get the installation files from Windows deployment service. Now I have started the installation with this DVD. I have inserted the DVD into my machine and I have started the installation. Now first screen we will see when we start the installation. First you have to insert the DVD, then you have to select first boot device as a CD-ROM. Now after selecting that, from the BIOS, when you boot, then it will give you the option to press any key. Press any key to boot from CD or DVD, CD DVD. Now if you don't press any key, then it will try to install from the other bootable device, like the sequence what we have set in the BIOS. If we have set it like first boot it from CD DVD, then go for hard disk, then go for network and all that. So removable drive and all. So if you have selected that sequence, so it will go by the sequence. So if you select first device as a CD-ROM, so it will check the CD-ROM first, and in the CD-ROM we have inserted the DVD, so it will detect the DVD and it will give the option to boot from CD. It will ask that whether you want to boot from CD DVD or not. Now if you don't press any key, then it will go for second bootable device, which is maybe mostly we've set it like hard disk. Now hard disk, where our installation will go. After finishing the installation, our installation files will store into this hard disk and it will boot from that hard disk. Now if we have not selected if we have not installed the system, then there is no installation. So it will go for the third boot device, that is maybe removable drive or network, and it will try to find the installation. Now because we have not installed anything, so we selected CD DVD first as an installation device, bootable device, and then when it boots, it detects the DVD from there and it gives the option to boot from DVD. So I press any key, I press enter key, and it will start the installation. Now first screen it will show is this screen, where you have to select the language to install, then you have to select the time zone, currency format, and then you have to select the keyboard layout. Now keyboard layout is important because according to your layout of computer, keyboard layout of your computer, you have to select the right layout, otherwise your keys will misplace. So if your keyboard layout is UK and you select US, then some of the keys will misplace. So you have to select the right keyboard. After that you will press next. Now when you press next, after selecting these languages, when you press next, when the second page comes, which is Windows Setup Wizard, there in that screen you have to select install now. There is only one option on that screen, you have to select it, and that option is install now. There is one more option, you can use this page to select repair your computer also. and you use this option in the event that an installation has become corrupt and you are no longer able to boot into Windows 10. So if if your Windows 10 is corrupt and you want to repair it, then there is one more option there in that screen is what? Repair your computer. So we can use this to repair the computer also. But first we have to install. So you have to select install now. After that, on the application applicable notice and license terms page comes. Review the terms and licenses of the operating system, and you must choose accept the license terms before you can proceed with the installation process. If you don't accept it, it will not give you next button. So you have to accept it and then you will press next. Then it will ask for you to which type of installation you want to have. First option is upgrade, second option is custom. Now upgrade do what? It is the option if you have an existing installation of Windows that you want to upgrade to Windows 10, and you should launch upgrade from within the previous version of Windows rather than booting from the installation source. So upgrading means if you are having a previous version of Windows, you are having Windows 8 or Windows 8.1, you are having Windows 7, or you want to upgrade it into Windows 10. In that case, you can select this upgrade option. And if you want to install the fresh installation, you just don't want to upgrade, you just want to install the fresh installation, then you will select the custom option. This option if you want to perform a new installation. So when we are installing, we selected this custom because we are installing the fresh one. Now after this option, on the where do you want to install page come. Now where do you want to install page, that means you have to choose an available disk on which to install the Windows 10, and you can also choose to repartition and reformat disk from this page. And you want to do this from the command line, you can press Shift F10 to access the command prompt, and when you click next, the installation process will copy files and reboot the computer several times. So in this page you have to select where you want to install, and we want to install it on the hard disk. So in the hard disk you can create and reformat and format the partitions. So you can create the partition on this page as much as partitions you want, but by default it will create some system partitions. Remember, if you don't create any partition, still it will create some system partitions to store the system files of Windows 10. Then when you done with this and press next, then the installation process will start. Now after the installation process will start, it will boot several times. It will boot multiple times, and after the finishing of installation it will boot, and then you will see this get going fast page, and here you have to select the settings which you want to have. You can select express settings, that will choose the default settings, or you can choose manually one by one each settings. For example, so after finishing the installation, it comes this basic, it says that let's start the region. Is it right? It is asking about the region which we have already selected, so it is only asking whether it is right or not. So I say okay, yes, this is my region. And then again it is asking for me about the keyboard layout. Is it right? So I say yes. Now it is saying, do you want to have any second keyboard layout? Sometime we do what? Sometimes we do have second keyboard, like suppose we have one keyboard and then we have one more keyboard. So if it is a different layout of keyboard, then we can select different layout also. So if we have different layout, then we can add it here. Now I don't have any other keyboard layout, so I will go skip it. Otherwise I have added layout, so I skipped it. Now it has reboot again. So as I said, it reboots multiple times when you start the installation, creating the partitions and all. Now it is asking that related to account information. It is asking us that whether you want to use it for the personal use or you want to use it for the organization. According to that, you can create the account. So it says, how would you like to set up your machine? So you like to set up this machine for personal use. Now personal use means we will help you to set up the with the personal Microsoft account, and you will have full control over this device. And you want to use it for an organization. In this case, you will gain access to your organization's resources like email, network, apps and services, and your organization will have full control over this device. Now because this is pro version, it can join the domain and it can join the organization network. If it is home edition, then this option would have not come, because home edition we cannot join to domain. It cannot be joined the domain because this is home edition, this is pro edition, and which we have installed. Or if you install enterprise edition, then it can join the domain. So this option is coming for asking you that whether you want to use it for personal use or joining the organization. If you want to set up the organization, then it will go on to set up the organization, it will go on to join the domain. But I don't have any organization or domain, so I'll go with setup for personal use. I select this option and then I will say next. Now it says let's add your account. Now because I am using it for the personal use, so I have to add my account here. Now account means what it is? It is asking me to add your Microsoft account. Microsoft account, that means if you are having a Microsoft account, email account, then you can add it here. You can add your account. Next it will ask the password and then you can sign in with your Microsoft account. Or if you are not having an account, then it is giving you the option to create an account also. So it will connect the internet and then it will give you option to create an online account, email account, that which you can use here. Now if you don't want to use the Microsoft account, then you can go for offline account. Now what is the difference between this email account, using email account, Microsoft account or offline account? This account, if you use this Microsoft account, then it will be your settings and your profiles will be sync and it will be uploaded in that Microsoft account. And that means what? Whenever you logged in with the same account anywhere in any other devices, then these settings and all these your profiles will be sync. So you will see the same thing here in this device. You can see the same things in other devices also. That means suppose I logged in with the email account, with the Microsoft account in my desktop machine, and then I use the same account to log into my mobile device, mobile or tablet account, or the laptop, another machine, or another machine, suppose a laptop, I use the same account. So all those machines will be synced, they will be synced together, and they will be having the same profile of mine. So using the same account, Microsoft account, on multiple devices, it will allow you to use this same service, same profile on different devices. Now offline account, that means it will only use for this machine. Whatever you do, it will remain on this machine. Your profile will remain on only this machine. It will not be available on any other device, because it is only offline account. So I'm not using email account here, I'm just using offline account. So when I click offline account, it is giving me option that is saying that sign in to enjoy the full range of Microsoft apps and services. And one more thing, remember, if you want to get the Microsoft Store apps, you want to get the apps from Microsoft Store, then you need to log in with your Microsoft account. Your local account will not work. You have to log in with your Microsoft account, and that is what it is saying here, that sign in to enjoy the full range of Microsoft apps and services. That means your all services will be stored in the cloud, and then whenever you logged into any other device, you're logging into desktop, tablets, laptops, mobile devices, you will see your same profile everywhere, because everything will be synced on cloud, Microsoft cloud. So it is again saying that please use the Microsoft account to use this log into this machine. Enjoy everything from game, office to free cloud storage with access the tools you love on all your devices. Now if I say next, it will take me back to the same screen. It says just log in with your Microsoft account or create one if you don't have. But still I'm saying again, no, I want offline account. So it will take me to, again, it is just giving me that, it is just remembering me that you are losing this thing, and if you are using the offline account, then you will not able to have these features and that. So it is just reminding me that, and when I press next, it will go back to the same screen and say please log in with your Microsoft account. But I want to use my offline account, so I will go for limited experience here. I will say I want to use my offline account, and that will give me limited experience only for this machine, and even I am not able to log in with the Microsoft apps, and I cannot download the apps. But okay, I will use it later. I can use Microsoft account, I can log in with Microsoft account later also, after finishing the installation also. So I will select limited experience. Now here it is saying that who is going to use this PC. Now it is saying that create your offline account. Now again it is saying here, or even better, use an online account. So I want to create offline account, so I will give the name of the user who is going to use this machine, and next. Now it is asking for the password, and next. Confirm the password, and next. Now if you forgot your password, then to recover your password, it is giving you some security questions. There are 3 questions you have to select. So these are the questions you can select. So I select this. And put the answer there. Next. Now it is asking for the second question. You have to choose at least 3 questions, so that if you forgot the password, then you can recover the password by using these questions. And this is the third question. Now this is for the services settings. Now here it is saying choose the privacy setting for your device. Microsoft puts you in a control of your privacy, and choose your settings, then select accept to save them, and you can change these settings at any time. You can change these settings from your setting app anytime. Now this is privacy settings. First is saying online speech recognitions. It is on. So your device, use your voice of direction to talk to Cortana. So if you talk to Cortana with your voice, so it will recognize your voice and it will be stored in the cloud. Do you want them to recognize? Yes or no? If you want privacy, then you will say no, and you can say yes, which is by default. Then here it is the location setting. So some applications or some services, some websites use the location services. So if you want them to use the location of yours, then you can select yes. This is what, not for desktop. This setting is basically not for desktop. Desktop machines don't change much location because it remains as it is. Now if you are using mobile devices, tablet or laptops which is moving everywhere, then location services are sometimes important. Now some applications, some apps try to use your location. So if you want to allow them to use or not allow them to use, you can decide here, yes or no. These settings are also available in every mobile. Find my device. This is when you turn on Find my device and use your device location data to help you find your device if you lose it, and you must sign into Windows account. So if you have signed it with the Microsoft account, then you can use this option to find your device. Where is your device? And for this your location service also must be enabled. Then you can have this diagnostic data. This sends information about the website you browse, how you use your apps features, plus additional info about device health, device activity and enhanced error reporting, and it will send this reporting to Microsoft for diagnosing the problems or suppose the behavior of user. Now if you don't want Microsoft to know about your activity, your searching, your browsing, then you should disable this setting. Otherwise it will do what? It will send your information to Microsoft. Then inking and typing, whatever you're designing by pen, you're using pen, you're designing with the inking with that pen device, or you're typing anything, it will all be sent to with Microsoft services. That means data will be data to Microsoft to improve the language recognition and suggestion capabilities. So whatever you type, whatever you ink using pen, it will be sent to Microsoft servers so that they can recognize more languages and they can improve their self. They just want to improve their self. Now if you don't want to send them your information, then you can say no. Tailored experience, this will do what? It will diagnose your data and excluding information about website you browse, and to offer you personalized tips, ads and recommendation to enhance your experience. So based on your browsing, searching and activity and using apps, it will give you according to that it will give you tips and ads. So if you don't want them, you can also disable this. Then you have option to advertising ID, that apps can use advertising ID to improve provide more personalized advertising in accordance with the privacy policy of the app provider. So when you use some apps, you see some apps are free to use, some apps are not free, some apps are free with ad. So when those free with ad applications are there, so they can show you personalized advertisings based on your browsing and information. So basically this all information is collected by Microsoft from you, your machine, your activity, your browsing information, your location, your voice, so that they can improve their services they can give you a tailored experience, they can give you targeted ads and advertisements. So if you don't want them to accept, if you don't want to have them something, then you can just disable these settings. Otherwise you can do what? Accept. Now it says let's Cortana help you getting things done. To do this, Cortana need access to some of your personal information. This is for the Cortana. Now if I select accept, so Cortana provide personalized experience. It is telling about Cortana. What is Cortana? So Cortana is what? It is the personalized experience and relevant suggestions. Microsoft collect and uses information including your location and location history, contact, voice input, speech in handwriting pattern, typing history, speech history, calendar details, content and communication history. But in Microsoft Edge, Cortana uses your browsing history. You can always change this choice in the notebook. Disable Cortana Microsoft Edge. Now let Cortana respond to you. You can select this, and whenever you say hey Cortana, the Cortana will respond. Now for this, to collect the information, you have to log in with Microsoft account, and we have not done that. So when you say, when I accept, so here it is almost done. The installation settings, it is almost done. Now it is starting my machine. Now it is setting up my desktop, it is setting up my apps, personalize my profile and everything, and it will take a little time. So after completing all those steps, this concludes the installation of Windows 10, and you have signed in and you have installed the built-in universal apps, and it will take a few minutes before you see the desktop. So now you can see here we are logged in and we are seeing the desktop of our Windows 10. And here it is saying searching for display drivers, screen resolution, performance and battery life may be reduced until a compatible driver has finished installing. So it is searching, you can see the internet is there, so it is searching the driver for our devices, our display devices, our sound devices, whatever drivers are not there. So it is trying to search on internet and trying to download the drivers, and after that our resolution will be okay. Now in this case, this is virtual machine and we are using the virtual machine, so the devices are virtual. So in this VMware, if these drivers are not properly there, so you can do what? After installing the Windows machine, you have to install the VMware tools, so that the tools is just like a virtual driver for the virtual machines, we can say. In real machine, you have to have the proper driver for your display, your sound, your network. Otherwise, these drivers will not work, or these devices will not work. We will see how we can fix that. But here in this machine, this is because it is a virtual machine. So in virtual machines, these devices are virtual. These display, sound, network, all devices are virtual. So in this VMware, we have a feature which is called VMware tool. So after installing the VMware tool, these drivers will, the driver for the virtual machine will be installed. So I'll go to here on top of this virtual machine settings, and I will click on VM, and here I have option to install VMware tool. So before going ahead, I'll do what? I will install the VMware tools here. So when I select install, it will do what? It will insert virtual DVD ISO image into my virtual machine. So virtual machines DVD drive, and we can install it from here. So I'll select install. Now it is going to add virtual DVD into my DVD drive here. It will add ISO image of VMware tool into this virtual machines virtual DVD. It is there now. Under the DVD we have VMware tool image. So when I click my PC, this PC, I can see this. So I will double click on it to run this. It will run the VMware tools. And I just have to install it. And installation for the VMware tool is very easy. Just have to select next and typical, next and install. Now after it will install, it will reboot the system. So after that our system will be having all the drivers for the virtual devices. Now after installing that VMware tool, it is a rebooting and it will start after this and everything will be okay then. So our Windows is starting. So till then we can go ahead and see the upgrading to Windows 10. Now upgrading to Windows 10 is the decision to upgrade or migrate from the previous Windows version can be complicated. It is not like you can upgrade from everywhere. You cannot upgrade from Windows 7 to directly Windows 10. You cannot upgrade just like from everywhere to everywhere. It is complicated. This decision is complicated. You must also decide how to perform the upgrade or migration. So there is two options we have. We have upgrading or migration. So you have to decide whether you want to do upgrade or you want to do migration. Many factors contribute to the upgrade decisions. Now, however, at the end of the process, the goal is always the same. You want to have your computer running the newest operating system while retaining the settings or data that existed in the earlier Windows operating system. This is the main reason we do upgrade. Because suppose our system is running, we are using Windows 8 and our system is running properly, we have configured lots of things there, we are having lots of applications there, we have configured those applications and we just don't want to lose all these things. We don't want to lose those applications, we don't want to lose these settings, we just don't want to lose everything. When you do the fresh installation, it will remove everything. But upgrading will do what? It will just upgrade the operating system, but all your settings, all your application settings will remain as it is. So this is the main reason or goal for your upgrading. So goal is what? The computer must be running with the newest operating system while retaining the setting or data that existed in the earlier Windows operating system. So you don't want to lose your data, you don't want to lose your settings, your profile settings, your application settings. This is the main reason we do upgrade. But it is not that simple, it is complicated. Now, this is the process. This is a simple process of upgrading any Windows from older version to new version. So first you have to evaluate. You have to evaluate that if you upgrade, or first you have to evaluate you have to upgrade it or you have to migrate it, and what the settings will be affected, what data will be affected, and what applications will be affected. So first you have to decide all these, you have to evaluate everything, and then for the security you have to take the backup of your important data. This is very important to take a backup. If in case something went wrong, then you have to have a backup for your important data. Otherwise, if something went wrong and you have to remove everything, you have to do the fresh installation and when you do the fresh installation, you remove all your data also. So before going for the process, you must have to take the backup of your important data. So first step is to evaluate that what you want to do and what will be affected, and then you have to take the data backup. And after taking the backup, you will go for upgrade. Now how you will do upgrade? Remember the process of installation. At the point of installation, when we started the installation, there was two options there. After selecting the license, there was two options: selecting upgrade option and selecting custom option. So if you select custom, that means you are using the fresh installation, and upgrade means you want to upgrade from the previous version. So you just select that upgrade option and it will be upgraded. And after finishing the installation, you will verify that your all settings and data will be there or not. And after that, you will go for update. Update, that means you have installed the new version, Windows 10, and if any update for that version is there, then you can go for update that version. But you will verify that your applications, your data has not removed and has not changed, and everything is working properly or not. Now in case it is not working properly, your Windows is not working properly, then you have to reinstall it, you have to remove the data, and then you will get the data from backup because you have already taken the backup. Now the important is upgrade path. Upgrade path for Windows editions. That means you cannot just upgrade from any version to any version, any edition to any edition. In Windows 8 also, in Windows 7 also, we have different editions like Windows 10. In Windows 10 we have Home Edition, Pro Edition, Enterprise Edition, Enterprise long-term service base, and Windows Education, Windows 10 Education, Mobile Enterprise. Just like these editions of Windows 10, we have different editions in Windows 8, Windows 7. So if we want to do the upgrade, then we have to do it in a proper path. We cannot just upgrade from any version, any edition to any edition. So you cannot upgrade previous Windows version that do not have the same feature set as the edition of Windows 10 that you are installing. So the following table I have created. This is the table. You can see like from where you can upgrade from which edition. So the upgrade path is important. Now suppose we are using Windows 7 and we want to upgrade it into Windows 10. So this is what Windows 7 editions we have. Windows 7 has Starter Edition, then Home Basic Edition, Home Premium Edition, then Professional Edition, Ultimate Edition, and Enterprise Edition. These are the editions of Windows 7. Now you can see there is no mobile edition here. So you cannot go for mobile. You cannot upgrade Windows 7 to Windows 10 mobile because there is no mobile edition available here. So if suppose you are using Windows Starter Edition and you want to upgrade to Windows 10, so you can upgrade till Windows Home Edition, you can upgrade till Windows Pro Edition, and even you can go for Windows 10 Education Edition. But you cannot go for Windows 10 Enterprise Edition or Enterprise LTSB. LTSB and Enterprise are same, so you cannot go there, and there is no option for mobile here. So if you are using Windows 7 Starter, so you can go upgrade it to Windows Home, Pro, and Education Edition. You cannot upgrade on Windows 10 Enterprise and Enterprise LTSB. Now if you are using Home Basic, now Home Basic is actually same as Starter Edition. For Windows 10 it is same as Starter. So Again, you can only upgrade to Windows Home, Pro and Education. You cannot go for Enterprise. Now if you are using Windows 7 Home Premium, again it is Home Edition. It is not like Windows 10 Professional or something. It is still again same as Starter and Home Basic. So again you can upgrade to Home, Pro and Education. You cannot upgrade it into Enterprise. Now Professional, if you are using Windows 7 Professional, then you cannot go to Windows Home Edition. It is like going back. If you are using Windows 7 Professional, you cannot go to Home Edition because it is like going backward, and backward is not supported. Remember the backward compatibility, it is not supported backward. If you are going, if your edition is Professional, then you cannot go back to Home Edition. So you cannot go to Home Edition of Windows 10. You can only go to Home Pro Edition, Education Edition, Enterprise or Enterprise LTSB. So you can go from Professional to Pro, Education, Enterprise and Enterprise LTSB. But you cannot go back, you cannot go to Home Edition. Now if you are using Ultimate Edition of Windows 7, then again you cannot go to Home Edition. It is like going back, and it is same as Professional. So you can go to Professional, you can go to Education, Enterprise and Enterprise LTSB. Now if you are using Windows 7 Enterprise Edition, now this is Enterprise, and if you want to upgrade it to Windows 10, you cannot upgrade it into Windows Home, Pro or Education because it is like going back. So going back is not supported, so you can only upgrade it into Windows 10 Enterprise or Enterprise LTSB. You cannot go back to previous versions of Windows 10. Now if we are using Windows 10, Windows 8, we are using Windows 8 and we want to upgrade it into Windows 10. So Windows 8 has these editions. Windows 8 has Core Edition, Professional Edition, Enterprise Edition, Windows RT Edition and Phone Edition. Here we have the Mobile Edition available. Since Windows 8 we are having the Mobile Edition available. So if we are using Windows 8 Core Edition, then we can upgrade it into Home, Pro, Education and Enterprise. But we cannot go to LTSB and not able to change it to Mobile Edition. Now if we are using Professional Edition, then again Home Edition is not supported because we can't go back. We can only go to Professional we can go to Educational and Enterprise LTSB. If we are using Enterprise Edition, so again we can't go back to Home, Pro or Education Edition of Windows 10. We can only go back to Windows 10 Enterprise Edition, Enterprise LTSB. Again no mobile because it is not a mobile edition. Then Windows 10 RT. It is a different type of edition of Windows 8 which is completely removed in Windows 10. So you can see here there is no option available for this. You cannot upgrade it into Windows 10. It is not supported. No any edition is similar to that Windows RT. You can only upgrade those editions to those editions which have some similar features. If they don't have similar features, you cannot upgrade it. So if you are using Windows 8 RT, it is not supported to upgrade it into Windows 10. Now if you are using Windows 8 Phone Edition, so remember it is Phone Edition, you cannot go to this Home, Pro, Education or Enterprise editions. You can only upgrade it into Windows 10 Mobile Edition. Now if you are using Windows 10 and you want to upgrade it into Windows 10 again. Now what is this Windows 10 to Windows 10? It is actually upgrading from previous versions of previous edition to Advanced Edition. Like you are using Home Edition and you want to upgrade it into Pro Edition or Enterprise Edition of the same Windows 10. So it is also supported. That means you can upgrade your editions to different editions of Windows 10. Now which editions you can upgrade? So if you are using Windows 10 Home Edition, so Home is Home, you can upgrade it to Windows Pro, and education. You cannot upgrade it into Windows 10 Enterprise, Enterprise LTSB, and not even a mobile editions. It is not a mobile edition. If you are using Windows 10 Pro edition, then you can upgrade it into Pro to Education and Enterprise. You cannot go back to Home edition, and you cannot go to LTSB and mobile editions. If you are using Windows 10 Education edition, then you can only go to Education to Enterprise. You cannot go back to Pro or Home, and you cannot go to LTSB and not a mobile edition. Then if you are using Enterprise edition, then Enterprise can be upgraded into LTSB. It cannot upgrade, it cannot go back to Education or Pro edition. Backward is not supported, and not in a mobile edition also. Now if you are using mobile edition, then you can only remain in mobile, you cannot upgrade it into anywhere. And if you are using mobile enterprise, then again you will remain into mobile enterprise, you will not go back or forward, there is no addition to upgrade. Now this is what the upgrade path. But those additions which are not able to upgrade it, that means those additions which is I'm saying there is not possible to upgrade, then what we do? We can do migrate. So if those additions which is not possible to upgrade, we can do migration for them. So when you decide to upgrade to Windows 10, and you can use two different methods. First, in place upgrade, and you can do an in place upgrade if you want to keep all app settings and files, and this is the preferred method for upgrading to Windows 10. So in place upgrade, that means this will remain all the settings and applications as it is, and it will just update the operating system. And for this kind of upgrade, you have to make sure that you are following the right path. That means your core edition cannot be upgraded into LTSB, your professional edition cannot be upgraded into home edition, and cannot go to mobile edition. Your enterprise cannot go to home, pro, or education. Now the next thing is migration. You use this method primarily when your user receive a new computer with Windows 10 and you want to preserve the user's file and settings. Now that means what? That upgrading path is not supported here. That means previously your user was using Windows 10 Enterprise Edition, and now he is getting the new machine with Windows 10 Pro Edition. Now you cannot do upgrade because your settings will be removed, because the upgrade path is not supported. So in that case, if you want to recover, or you want to preserve the user settings and files, then you do what? Migration. So migration you do when upgrade path is not supported, and in place upgrade you can do when your upgrade path is properly that and it is supported. Then you can do normal upgrade, and preferred way of upgrading your system that will remain your settings and everything. But if you do migration when your upgrade path is not supported, so for doing the migration or upgrade is simple. Upgrade means it is simple. You just add the DVD and just select the upgrade option and it will upgrade. You don't have to do any extra steps. You don't have to do any extra steps to do the upgrading. You just have to take the backup for your security. Otherwise, you just don't have to do anything. You just select the upgrade and it will upgrade. But because the upgrade path is not supported, then you will select migration. Now when you want to do the migration, you have to do the extra steps. Now what is the extra steps? First, you have to collect the user state data. That means you will back up all the user state data into a separate store or separate storage. It is like taking a backup of all your user settings and profiles and application settings into a separate storage, and then you will reinstall this operating system of this machine as a normal installation, as a fresh installation, and then you will install the applications and services, and then you will restore the settings from the backup to this machine. So this is what migration, and you have to do it by using the backup first of the settings of the users and profile, and then after doing the fresh installation you will have to restore the settings back to the machine. Otherwise you can just do the upgrade, in place upgrade, which is very simple. Boot the machine with the DVD and select the upgrade option. So Windows as a service will provide new feature and functionality through the update process. After that you will do the update. Now there is a advantages and disadvantages of both the process, in place upgrade and migration. First, if you consider in place upgrade, so in place upgrade, advantages and disadvantages. So first, what is the advantage of in place upgrade is that retain user settings, application settings and files with no additional effort. That means you don't have to do anything, any extra effort to store your settings and application settings and files. It will do it for you by default. But what is the disadvantage here? Does not take advantage of the opportunity to start the fresh with standardized reference configuration. That means it is still using the same old settings and it is not giving you the option or flexibility to use the fresh and new machine. Sometimes suppose you are upgrading or you are formatting your machine, you are reinstalling the machine because of some problem of viruses. So if you do the upgrade thing, your settings will remain, but it will remain with the viruses also. It is not like a fresh start. Then advantages of this upgrade is preserve installed applications and typically does not require reinstallation of applications. So you don't have to reinstall the applications which you have already available in your system. It will remain all the applications. It will not remove any application. But the disadvantage of that is preserved application may not work correctly after upgrading from an earlier Windows version. For example, if you are using Windows 7 and there is an application on Windows 7, so when you upgrade it into Windows 10 using the in-place upgrade, so maybe the application will remain there, but it may not work properly because Windows 7 architecture is completely different than Windows 10 and even Windows 8 also. So some settings or maybe some applications will not be compatible with that Windows 10 settings or Windows 10 interface. So it may not work, or sometime it may not work some features of the application. Like some application features will work and some features will not work. So that can be also a problem. So this is what the disadvantage. Advantage is that it can remain retain all the applications, but some application may not work because of compatibility problem. Then the advantage of this upgrade is what? Does not require additional storage space for migration files. That means you don't have to migrate anything, you just have to upgrade. So you don't have to have additional storage space to take the backup of your files. Now disadvantage is that remnant files or settings from in-place upgrade may contribute to performance and security issues. That means the files which we are getting it back from this, maybe it is infected by some viruses, so it can be affecting your performance and security problems if you are retaining the old files. Now effects Advantages affects users productivity manually and preserves user settings and data just in the source computer. So it will reduce the productivity time. It will minimize the user's productivity effect of productivity. That means user don't have to wait for this for long time, because it will do very quickly, because you don't have to do additional steps and all that. So users will start working immediately. After you just do the upgrade, applications will be there, settings will be there, and the users can start the work. So it will reduce the effect of productivity. But the disadvantage is does not allow for additional changes, because the changes are already there, so it will not allow to change anything else. Then provides a simpler setup process. This is the advantage, and this advantage is only available on supported operating system. We can do the upgrade, it is very simple, but it is only we can do if your upgrade path is supporting. So if you are using the supported upgrade path, otherwise it will not do, you cannot do this process. Now rollback is available in case of problem. This is the advantage of this upgrading, that there is an option to roll back the settings, like you can roll back to previous version if you see any problem is there. But the disadvantage is that computer has to meet the minimum hardware requirement. Otherwise you cannot upgrade it. Remember the minimum hardware requirement for Windows 10. So if your machine you're using another operating system like Windows 7, so minimum hardware requirement is different, and you're upgrading it to Windows 10, so maybe that minimum hardware requirement is not met, so sometime you will get the problem. Now in other hand, if you are using migration, so there is also some advantages and disadvantages of this migration also. Advantages of migrations is it offers a fresh start with the opportunity to clean up existing computers and create more stable and secure desktop environment. A significant advantage when creating a managed environment. This is what the advantage. So when you do the migration, that means you are actually doing the fresh installation. And fresh installation, that means you are removing every data, every previous data, and that will be like if your problem is about if you are having a problem of viruses or something, then it will be clean, it will be fresh start. But there is a disadvantage here. This requires to use the migration tool such as USMT, user state migration tool. This is the tool which you have to use to do the migration, and it is to capture and restore user settings and data. So first you have to take the backup of your user settings, and that you can do it by using this user state migration tool. This is what your additional setting here. Then allows for installation of any edition regardless of what edition was running previously on the computer. This is the big advantage of when this doing the migration, because you don't have to care about the upgrading path. You can upgrade from any edition to any edition because you are doing what? Migration. But the disadvantage here is require reinstallation of application. That means when you do the upgrading from any edition to any edition, that means you are reinstalling the fresh operating system, and it will remove all the application which was there. So you have to reinstall the applications before restoring the data. So you have to restore all the applications first which was there, and then you can restore the data from USMT. Then it provides the opportunity to reconfigure hardware level settings such as disk partitioning before installation. Now this will give you opportunity to repartition the hard disk also, because you are doing the fresh installation, so you can do the installation as you like. So you can create the fresh partitions, new partitions, or remove a previous style of partition and all. But the disadvantage here that requires storage space for user settings and files to be migrated. That means you have to take the backup of your user settings and you have to migrate it into a separate storage. So you need an extra storage for doing this. Then the advantage for migration is viruses, spywares and other malicious softwares do not migrate to the new installation of Windows. Because you are doing the new installation, so these things, viruses, spywares, malicious softwares will not be there into your new installation. But the disadvantage is that may have an impact on user productivity because of the reconfiguration of application and settings. Because you have to reconfigure everything, that means you have to reinstall everything, you have to restore the settings from the backup, then it will take lots of time and it can affect the productivity of the user. So user have to wait to start the job. So this is what advantages and disadvantages of migration. Now upgrading is very simple. We can do upgrade by using the upgrade option from installation steps. We just add the installation DVD, start the installation, and instead of selecting the custom installation, we select the upgrade and it will upgrade. But doing the migration, you perform a migration when you have a computer already running the Windows operating system and you need to move files and settings from your old operating system, that is your source computer, to the Windows 10 based computer, that is your destination computer. Now perform a migration by doing the following. So this is the steps we have to take. So this is the steps we have to take to do the migration. First, we have to back up the user's settings and data. User settings and data, we have to take the backup of all the settings of users and applications and profile, everything. Then perform a clean installation. Now here you will do the installation which is clean, fresh installation, just like you are installing first time. Now after installing your Windows 10, then you will reinstall the applications. So now you will reinstall all the applications which was there in the previous version and which we want to have it into this version also. So you reinstall all the application, and after doing all, then you will restore the user settings and data which you have taken the backup in first step. And your machine is ready now. So very simple, you will do what? First take a backup of your user settings into a separate storage. Then you will install Windows 10, you will do update, install application, and then you will restore the setting from your backup store to your Windows 10. Now for taking the user settings backup, we can use this migration user state. This migration scenario requires tool sets that enable you to capture the necessary information for migration and ensure that the information moves successfully to the new Windows installation. Now here you will see about the tools that we need to perform a migration to Windows 10 successfully. You must back up user related settings, application settings and user data that you will restore after the Windows 10 installation. So you have to take the backup of user settings, application settings and the data, and then you will restore that after the fresh installation. So for taking the backup of user settings, we use this tool which is called user state migration tool. Now this user state migration tool, USMT, is a scriptable command line tool that provides a highly customizable user profile migration experience for IT professionals. The components of this USMT includes, these are the components. First, we have a command line tool called scan state. This scan state tool scans the source computer and collects the file and settings and then creates the store. So this will take the backup of your user settings and data. Then you have another command tool, that is load state. This load state tool migrates the files and settings one at a time from the store to a temporary location on the destination computer. So it will do what? It will restore your files into destination machine. Then migration.xml files. So there is a .xml files there in this tool for migration. The .xml files that the USMT uses for migration are the mig app.xml, mig user.xml, or mig docs.xml, and any custom .xml file that you create. Now what these files do? This mig.xml file specifies this file with both the scan state and load state commands to migrate application settings to computers that are running Windows 8 or previous version. So this will do what? It will have an information about how to take a backup of applications. Then other file is mig user.xml. This specifies the both scan state and load state command to migrate users, folders, files and file type to computer that are running Windows 10. So this is to take the backup and restore the backup of user settings. So all the settings are there in this file, that how to take the backup of user settings and how to restore the setting of users. Then mig.xml file, use this file with both scan and load state tool to migrate all user folders and files. It will do migrate all the files and folders of users. Then we can create some custom XML files, and you can customize the migration for your organization's needs by making custom XML files. For example, you can migrate an application or modify the default migration behavior with the use of custom XML file. So these XML files will provide with these commands: scan state and load state, to take the backup of particular thing and restore the backup of particular thing. Now how we can do this? So first, prepare the source computer. Prepare the source computer, that means take the backup. So taking the backup with USMT, first create a text file named demo file on your desktop and then save some text into it. This is just for the demo. You just create some file here on the desktop and you just want to take the backup of that. So open command line and use the USMT tool command to take the backup. You will run the command scan state, then you will mention the file where you want to restore, where you want to store this data of your backup. Now here I am using the network path. Network path, that means where I want to keep the backup. So you can keep this backup on your local machine and then take it into an external drive, or you can restore it directly on the network drive. So whatever you want, you just have to take the backup somewhere in the another storage of your system. Then you have to mention what application, what backup you want to take with -i, with /i option. So here if I say mig app.xml file, then it will take backup of application settings. If I say mig user.xml, then it will take a backup of user settings. Then you will give -o and EU option for user you want to exclude. EU option is for user you want to exclude. By default, when you say mig user XML file, when you mention, then it will take the backup of all the users available in the system. If you are having 10 users, so it will take the backup of all the 10 users of your system. Now if you don't want to take the backup of some users, then you can mention that by using /EU option, exclude user, and you will mention the name of the user which you don't want to exclude, you don't want to take the backup. Now this will do what? This command will take the backup on this network location, on this directory my CLI1. Now completing the migration. Completing the migration, that means we have done the we have taken the backup. Now what? We have to do the reinstallation of our operating system, fresh installation, then we install the applications which was there, then we do the update the system, then everything. After doing everything, Now we can do what? We can restore the backup from this local machine, from this store, from the backup store. So how you will do this? You will open the machine, you will run this command load state, and the backup we have stored into this location. So I want to get the file from there, and then what I want to get? So I want to get MIG application, MIG user, and then I will mention the local account password also. Remember, when you get the users from this, so you have to mention the password for those users also. It will store the, it will get the information, it will take the backup of users. That means whatever users we have, it will take the backup of all the users, but it will not store the password for that users. So when you restore the users information, the users will come, but they will not have a password. So you have to mention the password for those users also, which you restore. So for doing that, we use this option /LAC, and you will mention the password for those users, and then you will mention this option to enable those users. Enable those users, which is your restoring. So you are restoring whatever users, the users will not have a password, so you will give them a password, and then you will enable the users also with this /LAE option. And C option is to just continue. If you have any error also, then it will not stop, it will just do continue with this process. So this is what doing the migration. Then remember, when you are doing migration or even you are doing upgrading, in place upgrading, your all application may not work. So you have to determine the application compatibility also. That some applications which is compatible with Windows 7 may not be compatible with Windows 8 or Windows 10, or maybe some applications are compatible with Windows 8, so may not be compatible with Windows 10. So in Windows 10 and a previous Windows versions, apps depends on the underlying operating system to provide access to a variety of resources such as system hardware, file and folder permissions, and configuration information. So when an app cannot access one of these resources, or when the resources returns the information that app does not expect, the app might respond to the user in an unexpected way. An app's ability to run as expected without data loss from the user's perspective is called application compatibility. So if it is not behaving like what we want it to behave, that means it is having a compatibility problem. So when you deploy a new operating system to clients that are using an app that is incompatible with the new operating system, application compatibility issue can cause serious problems. So application compatibility problems can manifest themselves in a number of ways. That is including that do not run, error messages that appears, missing or non-functioning features, or more subtle, potentially harmful symptoms such as data corruption or loss. So these are some of the problems can be there when you are not having a compatible application. It may not work completely, or may work may works, but some features may not work, some files will miss, some data will get corrupt, and all that can be very harmful. So application compatibility issues can cause the following symptoms. That is an app failing to run, error messages, missing application functionality, data loss or corruption. And migrating application compatibility involves the following phase: discover, realization, prioritize, test, and migrate. Now migrating application compatibility involves this following phase. That means you have to follow the phase to migrate the applications. So before doing the upgradation, you should check that these applications are compatible with the new version or not. And for that you have a tool called application compatibility. That tool you can use, that is not available by default in Windows 10, so you have to install that tool separately, and then you can check applications compatibility, that whether this application is supported in Windows 10 or not, and whatever the addition you are going to install, is it supported on that addition or not. And if it is having a problem, so you have to upgrade that application, migrate that application also. So in that application, that migration tool application, compatibility application tool, you have these steps: discover, realization, prioritize, and test and migrate. So this is what the steps for doing what? Migration and upgrading. And this is the steps to do the complete installation. So by doing all these things, we have done the complete, we will complete the installation. Now we have installed the VMware tool on our system, so it was started. Now let's check that one first. So this machine is also started after installing the VMware tool. Now when you start, first it will show you this welcome screen. You have to click enter, and then you can log in here. So this is what the login screen, where you can see the user account. Like there is only one account there, so it is showing that account. If you are having multiple accounts, then it will show you in this side that there is another account then which you can use. But right now we have only one account, so it is showing that account and it is asking for the password. In this side you have options to change the language setting, you have options to connect internet, and accessibility option, and then power options. Power option to go to shut down, restart, or make your machine sleep. Accessibility options are like you can enable
Narrator.
narrator, you
Hear
can
text on screen aloud.
contrast, you can see the narrator it is saying. You can enable magnifier or on-screen keyboard, you can change the contrast and
Narrator. Hear text on screen aloud.
Yes, okay. This is
Magnifier. Make items on the screen larger.
okay. This is narrator. So we want to log in, then you just press the give the password and then press enter, and it will log in. And this is your desktop. Right now there is nothing on the desktop, but we will see how we can customize and how we can do the post installation task. This is what installing Windows 10. So this is how we can do installation of Windows 10. We can do upgrading, or even we can do migration also if we like.